ethnic sounding names being rejected for nursery places in Scotland.
Oh, that's a.
Yeah, bro. Steep
But
one. Very, very steep one.
see, before you go into that, like my general spiel when I talk to people about Scotland, right, is
Acceptance. It's quite
yeah.
nice.
Do you know what I mean?
Liberal.
Like you go up north, these people aren't scared of people with beards. Like that's really welcoming. Anywhere, like up north, Wales, Ireland, all these other
See,
places
I
seem to be
don't know
very
exactly where in Scotland this happens, so that might be my
Right.
downfall of the story. But
Go on.
normally, when you think of major cities, you don't think of that being an issue. So when you go to LA, it's very accepting. When you go to New York, again, accepting. When you go to London, accepting. But then there's always going to be pockets of spaces in those areas that are going to have issues.
Right.
And I think this is one that sort of highlighted it quite clearly. So, backstory is, guy's name is Hamza Yusuf. He's a member of the Scottish Parliament. So he's an MSNP, so member of Scottish Parliament. He is the Cabinet Health Secretary. He and his wife tried to put their daughter into nursery and had to apply directly.
So he's somebody of influence.
Yeah,
Cabinet Health Secretary. Okay.
yeah. And they tried to put their daughter into nursery. They applied. They were rejected straight away. Now, his wife had a bit of a hunch, and she thought, that doesn't sound right. What if it could be racism? And he thought, no, it can't be. It might be because he's a person of interest or influence. They're not happy to take their daughter on, which I understand. So she then said, let me try something. What she did was she then managed to get a friend of theirs to submit their daughter or their friend, and she submitted another person who was a fake name, who sounded ethnic. The white person's name was accepted, the ethnic was rejected. This was less than 24 hours after the initial application was sent. Right? So then she said, okay, maybe that's a coincidence. Let me try something else. So she asked her sister to do it, who had a Muslim surname. The surname was Ahmed. The lady's name in question is Nadia. She's, what's his name? She's Hamza's wife. Right. And she asked her sister to send an application, one for her actual child and one for a fake Scottish name. The fake Scottish name was offered 4 afternoon slots. The ethnic name wasn't. Right. So Hamza said, all right, there's clearly a correlation here. He passed it on to a journalist. The journalist did the same test, same result.
Wow, okay.
So they did it 4 times.
Expose.
Right? 4 times. And the journalist did a massive expose about it today. This is today. So today is 2nd of August, Monday the 2nd of August when we're recording this. Right. So, yeah, that happened. And I just thought, wow, that is some dark shit.
2021. Come on, why is this shit happening, man? Casual racism.
The thing is, right, is that you're rejecting a kid. The kid's 2 years old. They don't have anything in them that's inherently bad. So why are you rejecting the kid? The kid's done literally nothing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no qualifications to discriminate against. Like, what's the thing? What's the number one thing you're thinking in your head? Can they wipe their ass? No, they're 2 years old. Okay, fine. We'll change their nappy. That's literally it. That's as far as it goes. It's incredible how people will discriminate against a kid because of their old, strong-held values or thoughts about people of that ethnicity. It's crazy.
Yeah, and if you're in that nursery, right, and there's a child, and then a white child in that nursery, then surely they need to learn and be surrounded, be exposed to people of different cultures, different beliefs, different practices, so they can grow up and have a balanced opinion. Because you're doing them a disservice as well, man, by just keeping them in this kind of white-only environment.
Yeah, exactly. You have to mix it a little bit, especially for white kids as well, because they're only going to be exposed to white faces. So you have to mix people up from an early age so they understand who they're working with and what they're surrounded by.
Yeah, and then you don't, it's a bit cliche, but you don't see colour, do you? Like, when I'm in a hospital and somebody realises that the patient realises that I speak English the same way they speak English.
Yeah.
It's all cool, man. Then it's like, it's not even doctor, it's like jazz, da 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 da. Do you know what I mean? Could be black person, could be Muslim person, could be white person. It doesn't matter because you've got that connection, and that's the level we need to be at, and that can only happen if you're comfortable around people.
Yeah.
All people. Yeah.
So imagine that all this is happening to a child at a nursery. This must be happening at job levels with qualifications. Not even questionable now. Like if that's happening based on the most minimal information given about someone, then you're going to find the most minimal thing to pick on in someone's CV to reject them from a job, and claim it's because of a qualification downfall compared to
The
racism.
real reason.
Yeah, the real reason.
Yeah. Hiding behind reasons. Yeah, this is a big thing, isn't it? People having what sounds like reputable excuses or reasons for
Yeah,
something.
like you haven't got enough experience. Someone else was a better fit. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
They're better for the culture of the company. I'm like, what do those phrases mean? Like,
What does it actually mean?
the best way to say it is, I don't like the answer you gave in the interview. Just be honest with them. Say, I don't like the answer you gave in the interview. Somebody else said this in the interview compared to your question. This is what it is, done. If you give people detailed feedback like that, then when they think it's about their skin colour, they'll say, yo, it's because I didn't interview well. That's cool, you can work on that. That's probably a better way
Yeah, because that's the worst thing, man. Like, if you get rejected for something or you don't pass something, so we have plenty of students that come to us and they haven't passed their exams, and it's like, but did you get any feedback?
Yeah.
So they didn't give feedback. I said, well, how is this person expected to improve if you're not telling them the areas they need to improve on?
Yeah. That's a big gripe I have with recruiters. They don't ever give you feedback. They just sort of just send a rejection, and I'm like, what did I do wrong? And they're like, there's too many applicants to send feedback to. And I'm like, so we're just numbers to you, right? Okay.
Yeah, but that's just demoralizing, man.
It is.
Because the problem is you fill the gap
down.
You fill the gap with the shit that you think you're inadequate with, and then those become limiting beliefs and assumptions. They're not true.
Yeah.
But you believe them to be true, and then that becomes like a vicious circle, and then it affects your next job you apply to.
And then it also affects you on a personal level, where you're like, maybe I have to go back to university and learn like another degree, which in itself is bollocks. You don't need to do that.
The feeling of inadequacy.
You need to just work on a few more skills that make you better at your job, or maybe you need to present yourself better. That's pretty much it. Because 9 times out of 10, if you get into a company and you want to stay there, you could put on an act to stay there. It's not difficult. All you got to do is pass probation within 3 months. Then after that, you can show your real colours, and then they're stuck with you. Like, it's not hard. So there's ways around it.
Absolutely.
So ways to combat it then, Goran. How would you combat that situation?
From whose perspective?
From a parent's perspective. So if you're a parent,
that parent question,
how would you want that to be fixed going forward to stop that level of discrimination happening? I've got a couple ideas, but I want to hear yours.
For your child, or are you talking about the whole problem?
The whole problem. So how can you stop this from being? How can you stop this from happening at other nurseries without knowing about it?
It's like a question we had the other time when we talked about football. It's the same question we're asking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's how do you stop racism?
But when it comes to kids, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously what's happened in this scenario is good because the power of the journalist is he provides objectivity. So it's not coming from somebody else, and it's reach, isn't it? You've got to expose the problem, just like we said with the YouTubers. Put it out there, educate enough people, so more people realize this is a problem, not acceptable, so that they collectively, i.e. say, well, to the nursery, this not on, forced management issue. Because if a single parent goes there, they can probably part it off. Maybe they don't, do you know what I mean? But it's like me going to a big company and trying to rustle feathers. There's one man in it. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
We don't care about your complaint, whatever. But if there's a protest, right? If it's on a big scale, now this will get a lot of exposure because this guy's a cabinet health secretary.
In Scotland, it will do. I don't think it'll make it to England, but in Scotland.
Yeah, but there, right? Cabinet health secretary.
Yeah.
Somebody who's doing so much for the people, and this is how he's treated, right?
He's been treated.
And it should be the same for everybody, irrespective of who you are. But I think that will provide a lot of reach. So I think that point is about education and awareness, and you've got to be having these conversations. And what I liked is they didn't roll over in this situation. So if you're a parent here, you've got to ask the questions. But it's asking questions in the right way.
Why is my kid inadequate? Like, you got to ask that.
Well, I mean, the first question would be simple as, why didn't they get in? You're not going to assume it's racism. You're not going to assume it's inadequacy. You're going to ask that question.
Of course not.
But you've got to follow that trail until you get a meaningful answer. You have a real discussion with a real person who's in a position to give you that. Not someone who's firing off right at the bottom, right? So, like with me, like if I'm trying to get something done, whatever avenue of life is, ultimately, if I'm on the phone with someone, it's like, listen, are you a decision maker or are you not a decision maker? Can you influence or impact policy? Can you actually do something? Or if you can't, please put me through to that person that can. In the same way, when a patient talks to me, they want to, are you going to be able to send me home? Do you know the significance of this blood test or scan? Are you going to be the one giving me the treatment? That's what they want, man. I understand that, but obviously junior doctors and things need to learn. So that's why that system exists. But ask meaningful questions, get a meaningful response. If that doesn't do the thing, then yes, you have to raise awareness in other ways. And this is good in this scenario.
Yeah. So I guess the idea that I had is you can do blind CVs. This was suggested to me by my brother. Doing blind CVs is probably the best way to go about it. That way you can bat it at both levels. You can bat it at job levels and at nursery levels.
What's a blind CV?
Where you don't list someone's name or ethnicity, you just look at their qualifications or their character type, I guess.
Oh, I see. That's very interesting. So yeah, you take away the...
You take away the name, you anonymise the name, you anonymise their nationality, you just give age and that's it. Done.
Yeah, age and...
Maybe not even age, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so just this is what I've done, this is my experience, this is my skill set.
Done. That's it. That's the best way of going about it. Now,
it's kind
when
of
it
like,
comes to a kid...
in a voice.
Yeah, the voice, yeah. Exactly
Yeah?
that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, come on.
So, trying to do that with a kid, I don't know how reasonable that would be. But maybe you want to do like a lottery system.
Right.
So where if you have like a bunch of applications for kids, you'll do like a lottery little thing where you pick out kids' names or something and then it's done. But you've got to give that to like an impartial third party that will do that on your behalf. That won't show any sort of discrimination.
Bias.
A child, yeah, where there's no bias. Maybe that will anonymise it a little bit.
You mean if they're limited numbers and you have to pick from?
Yeah, if there's limited numbers. If there's not limited numbers and they're just rejecting people, then I don't know how to fix that at all. That's where I was a bit stumped. So, in a nutshell, I'm a bit numb to it, to be honest. Racism on that level. It's a new low to be racist towards a child that's 2 years old and can barely speak. But yeah, incredible. And like you said,
intolerant world, man.
And like you said, you didn't expect that in Scotland, but pockets of people you can find anywhere, right?
No, exactly.